Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. I won't keep you long, I promise. I super promise this time. I'm hope that I'm heard all right. If I can get a sound check, can I get somebody to press the number one for me, please? I'd appreciate it, but I'll continue. So, yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys about what it means to disavow. And hey, Lita, hey. And why I think it's important. We are kind of at a weird time in content on YouTube. People have, people are content creators. Anything you post online is up for discussion and critique, and that's fine. Um, but I think for me, I'm kind of resting in a place where when we are like, going about content in a certain way, and we begin to realize that. In fact, let me take my headphones off because I don't need them. Give me a second. I'm never prepared. But when we're in a place with content where, we find ourselves orbiting people and these people start to display behaviors, um, I feel like there's been a lot of discussion about where we are and where we lie when certain things from certain people happen. And I just kind of wanted to illustrate something that's happened to me, not so much recently, but I do think that it's important. So I'm going to try to illustrate my point with a personal story that happened to me. So, disavowment or to disavow someone is essentially an action that we take. It's like an announcement that we are no longer. Either responsible for or we're moving away from a person, place, or thing. And then we give our reasoning behind it, but we do it in public. So people, it's kind of like a declaration that I no longer associate myself, hold myself responsible, nor should you hold me responsible for X, Y, and Z's actions or X, Y, and Z themselves. So that's essentially like the rough definition, right? And so I think it's important because, again, we've seen a lot of content, we've seen people do a lot of content, and we've kind of seen some of the fallout when people aren't willing, for whatever reason, aren't willing to say, hey, this person or this thing over here, because of X, Y, and Z reasons, whatever they may be, I can't associate with them any longer. And so some of you already know the stories, about, that guy over there, the Jigglypuff guy, what they call him, and some of the things that he said as of, a long time ago that haven't really been sequestered, right? Like he doesn't know how to do, um, what is it, damage control when it comes to things being said or done. And what I saw with that particular situation when a person makes comments about minors is that there was a lot of kind of waffling and a lot of straddling the fence, right? A lot of people that would openly or to a certain degree say this is not okay, but then you would see them still associating themselves with this person. And what that does is that kind of creates tension for the audience because the audience is looking for people to take a stance on something, right? As content creators, we get on here, we have our different views about whatever is happening in the world. Everyone's, for the most part available to offer their opinions about it, and that's fine. But again, I have to reiterate that there's certain things that are said that just can't be unsaid. And when you're a person that aligns yourself with an individual that says some egregious things, it puts you and your audience in a compromising situation. it puts you as a content creator in a compromising situation, because if you're the person that's still aligning yourself with that individual, it gives the impression that either you agree or you're not willing to say that you don't disagree. And as a viewer, when you see behaviors like that, what it does do is it creates a level of uncertainty, or quite frankly, just non credibility in that individual. And I see a lot of people struggling with this online, a lot of people not being able to just say, hey, like what this person said on X, Y, and Z day is not okay. And I don't want my people being associated with this person. So I'm pulling back. What you're, at least for me, what I'm actually seeing is a converse where people are just not saying enough, right? It kind of takes me to a bit of a dialogue that I had with, what is that girl's name? I can't remember her last name, Courtney, the girl that's like red pill adjacent. And so I was over on LT's page because I seen that um, he was doing content about the Jigglypuff boy, right? So, I'm always in support of anybody that's going to put their foot on the neck of somebody that sexualizes children, right? And there was something that Courtney Michelle, yes, thank you, Lita. Um, there was something that LT said, and I seen Courtney respond, and she was like, don't put my name in it. They're like trying to absolve herself of any real accountability or responsibility in whatever her part to play in this was. Now, let me just say this for a fact before I go further, that I just want to be clear that Courtney herself, from how I understand it, um, has just done panels. She's done business with this individual. But what I can recall her not doing is just completely giving a full throated statement about where she is when it comes to, the Jigglypuff boy. And so I just thought it was kind of odd that she was kind of positioning herself, or kind of like waving the flag of this has nothing to really do with me, when in reality it does, right? Like not to some degrees as others, but the reality is that you in sharing space, being on panels with, I don't know if she was, you know, doing content with him up until the content, well, the comments that he made, or if she also did it after. That part I don't know. But what I will say is that I can say with certainty that she was doing business with him before, right? Um, and so I had made a comment, and I was just like, I just find it funny how, you know, you don't want people to address, because I think at the time LT was also playing a video of her interviewing him. Um, or was she interviewing him about the comments? I can't necessarily. I think now that I'm thinking back on it, I think he may have been pulling a clip of her asking him about the statements that he had made. And so as she's in the chat, kind of trying to, announce that she has nothing to do with this, my response to her, well, not directly to her, but of her, was like, you can't say that you're not responsible if you're not going to take a stance. And so me and her had a little bit of a back and forth. And the last comment I made to her was, because she had said something along the lines of, I don't know her, and I don't know her, right? This is not like a crucifixion of this woman, but I did point out that there is a difference. Like, you're absolutely right. I don't know you, but the difference between you and I is that I'm not on 4K sharing space with this guy. You are. So there is a marked difference in that. And me saying that was making her aware of the fact that you can't negate yourself of a conversation that you on a panel are having conversations with this man about these statements, if I can remember it correctly. But at the same time, you want to say, oh, well, this has nothing to really do with me. And I, you know, Like, don't bring my name into it because it's gotten to the point where it's messy, right? And this is one of the problems when we don't directly say, I no longer am a part of, associate myself with, or want anything to do with X, Y, and Z person. And these are my reasonings why. There's been, other people in other spaces. And I do want to, again, give a shout out to Neve because I do want to show conversely what it does look like when people actively disavow someone. Um, so there was a situation with a content creator that I don't fucking like, right? Um, and this content creator was, for all intents and purposes, the way that I understand it, doing content that involves a subject matter or content where it's drawn child pornography that they like to call lolly, right? So some of this content creator statements had resurfaced. They had a dialogue with someone else. And when the question was asked, and again, I'm paraphrasing because I'm trying to recall this without actually playing the content. Um, are you attracted to children? There was a pause. About that much of a pause before an answer was given, but there was no direct answer at first. And then it was like, no, did you not hear my question? Are you, yes or no, attracted to children? And then this particular content creator jumped to what she thought she heard, right? And so at that moment, I had made my decision. I didn't really need to hear anything else. There was no context that I needed. It was me hearing that one particular statement from this content creator. And I'm like, again, this is a person that wants to sexualize children. It's on fucking site, right? And it'll be on site every time. But Neve, through her networking with other content creators in um, in partnership, like helping with content and curating content and meetings and things like that, and I guess streams for debates and whatnot. And I have to, again, give it up to Neve because she did something that most people on this platform don't do. What's going on, Liberated? Good evening. Happy Friday. And so there was a conversation somewhere else being had about what do we do with this content creator that has made these statements that allude to looking for content online that involves hand-drawn child pornography. And then, do we want to be this person's friend? So the conversation in this point is disavowalment, right? And as I was listening to it, there was a lot of like people just not wanting to say the things that they really wanted to say, like them going over the content and the videos and the clips and the points where this particular content creator had said, I just want to wrap myself around a 12-year-old, but still trying to reason whether or not they still should be friends. And Neve decided to do the brave thing that most content creators won't do. She had prepared a statement and she hit that particular panel and made it known to them and to the public that because of who I am, because of where I come from, I can no longer associate myself with this person. This person has said some really egregious things. And because of these reasons, I myself personally and professionally am walking away from this content creator. And it wasn't until that moment that people actually started saying what they were going to do as far as their alignment with said individual, right? And I thought that was really because when I was watching from Neve's end, and I was watching her kind of like, I could see in her face that she was rattling through her thoughts to make sure that what she was saying was kind of very precise, tactful, and that she got off all the points that she needed to say, even amongst a group of people that she also associates with on this platform. And my perception in that moment, watching her kind of collect her thoughts, even though I understood that she had prepared a statement, I thought it was really brave and I thought it was really powerful because not a lot of people are willing to say, um, I can no longer associate myself with this person because of these reasons, too, and announce it to everyone else publicly and never, and not look back on it, not feel ashamed by it. And these are my words, these are my feelings, and I no longer cannot, right? And I'm super, and I told her this, but I'm super proud of her for doing that because it's a rarity on this platform to see people actually stand on righteousness, right? And not be what most of these bigger content creators are, be morally vague or morally bankrupt or straddle the fence of, I know that this person has said a lot of crazy things, but I still want to make money. So I'm still going to sometimes do business with them, not as much as you've seen me do before. And I think that it also says something to your audience too when you do that. It indicates to your audience that your platform is a safe space, that they are protected from things like this. And also it kind of helps them gauge where you are on certain issues, whatever that thing is, and why ever you're disavowing a person, place, or thing. And so I kind of want to get into my personal story, right? Um, and kind of demonstrate how this works in real time. Oh, it's zero. What you say, I would have had no problem saying what I need to say. I would have made it out loud and clear that I don't F with him. Yeah, I mean, I trust that you would, but the reality is that a lot of people don't. A lot of these big content creators, the ones getting super chats and cash apps and super stickers and memberships and merch, those are the ones that don't. And it's a sad state of affairs when um we're faced with people that don't know how to stand on not just business, but good business. Like when there's ethics and integrity behind what you do, like you're not just a brand, but that brand actually is you. But let me get into my story. So, um, a while ago, I was friends with a guy named V. Bennett. He's a content creator in this space. We originally met on Tripsy's Treehouse. And and over there during that time, we talked a lot about the Polite case and about Sonetta and House of Consciousness and our issues with that and our sentiments about Polite and all of the alleged scams and, things that he said and done. And, it was kind of like a mixture between kind of like analyzing the situation and also roasting, right? So there was a whole friend group over there. And on the end half of that, Bennett came around. He was in the chat. I think he may have hit the panel once or twice. Um, but that's how we met. And so I leave the treehouse for my own personal reasons. I didn't agree with certain things that were happening, but that's not really the point of this story. But I left there and I kind of just didn't have like a home. I had my channel, but I didn't have a home. And so after some time, I found out that V. Bennett had his own page. And, I would go over there and it would be kind of the same thing. Like we're talking about like how Sonetta is problematic, how House of Consciousness is problematic. And as time went on, well, let me say this. So when I went over there, it was right at the tail end of him and another content creator having a beef with a person online on here on YouTube named NeoX. Now, I wasn't present for it while it all went down. I had just caught it at the tail end, like directly right after like the shit hit the fan. What's going on, ABT? Hey, boo. And so there were certain things that I didn't have a full understanding of, but because I had a history with V. Bennett, I kind of took his word for it, right? I mean, him and the other brother that, he's really close to, they repeat the same story. And, the way that Neo X was characterized is that she was someone that was once a friend. And because of their beef with Sonetta, he had pulled up one day to apologize to Neo X about some things he had said about her. And then, um, and what I didn't know, what I wasn't clear on at the time until recently, but I'll get to that part. But Sonetta started talking about V. Bennett's friend's family, his daughter, his mother, girlfriend, something like that. Said some really disparaging things that are absolutely, absolutely fucking tragic. Like I would not, it's not okay, right? And so that was the beginning because they felt as though they had helped her, that they had stood by her side, had aligned with her on like, doing content about a person that I think we all collectively think is a really, really deplorable, bad fucking guy, right? Um, and they felt like they had been betrayed. So, like I said, time goes on. And one of these particular days, I'm in the chat or on, no, I'm on the panel. So I'm on the panel and well, first, when I see the stream, I was a little bit confused because I thought we had kind of gotten past like this Neo X girl, right? And so I had seen that he posted a comment that she made on her community wall addressing V. Bennett. But when I read it, I was just a little bit confused. I'm like, why is she speaking like this? Like, where is this coming from? Because the language was as if she was responding to something, but it was just like out of the clear blue. And so I read the comment, I just kind of left it alone and I kind of chucked it up to, oh, this is like Neo X doing Neo X things again, right? So I hit the link. We're talking about it. I have my particular, sentiments. And, I had kind of reiterated that on the panel. And a gentleman pops up. And this gentleman goes by the name of Kevin Wesley. Kevin Wesley also has a beef with Neo X and some other content creators now. He is um, some kind of very obscure way associated to Dwight Howard. And, if you don't know the Dwight Howard story, go Google it or get on YouTube. There's a bunch of articles and stuff about it if you don't know. But he's like a friend of Dwight Howard. So he's on the panel, he's talking, but I'm listening to him and he's saying that, people are saying that he's touched a child and he doesn't know me, right? So I'm listening and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Right. So one of the things that I want to point this out because I think this is key is that Bennett in that moment says, once he hits the link, he says, you know, I just want to say welcome to you. And again, I'm paraphrasing. I want to say welcome to you, brother. I don't really know much about you, but I appreciate you hitting the link and, having a dialogue with us. So the panel goes on and I see some faces that I hadn't seen on V. Bennett's page in a long time. And one of the ladies that used to be a part of, a subscriber of his eventually hit the link and they're talking about Neo X and I'm listening to it. And I'm listening to like this back and forth between this young woman and Bennett. And I'm listening to what I hear is the attempt of her as a former subscriber have left and then comes back attempting to offer him an olive branch or an opportunity to understand the other side of this conversation. And it was a little heated, but I didn't really think a whole lot of it because I'm thinking of it in terms of Bennett's experience with this, with Neo X. So, I didn't really see some of his kind of shortness with her necessarily as disrespect. I think now in hindsight, I would definitely say that it was a little bit disrespectful. Well, not even a little bit. It was just disrespectful, period, because a lot of what was happening was predicated on something that he did, right? So, for those of you that have been around here long enough, you've heard me talk about my sentiments about women and sisterhood and how important it is for me. You've heard me cuss and scream and do all these things about, women being cautious and being wary and getting our shit together and, really creating a dialogue, at least for me, to kind of get out certain thoughts that I have because, I feel like my relationship with other women as a woman is really important, right? And I would, to a certain degree, also think that Bennett understood that as well. Like we all kind of banded together underneath of talking about polite. He was definitely in the chats. I remember him a couple of times hitting the links in discussions about the case and polite. I mean, even when, he was doing this newer thing, when I found out that he had a channel and I became a subscriber of him talking about, how Sonetta was so wrong and, um, you know, continuing a friendship with a man that I think for all of us, it was obvious that he had did something to the child that he's now convicted of harming. Right. And so that's, for context, that's my particular stance. I'm always for children 100%, for children's safety. And I'm also for women creating happy and healthy friendships with each other. So much so that, like I was saying last year, that working on a nonprofit to make sure that for the women and children that are home insecure, that they have a place long term to stay. We went over, me talking about modeling this nonprofit after Thistle Farms and going through those videos and me talking about it and sharing where I was, letting you guys know that, that I have filled out my paperwork for the nonprofit and also telling you guys that, because I had a mentor, they looked over my content, that there's not a whole lot that I can share, but just saying this as a demonstration about how far that, I am in this, right? And so, like I said, getting back to that particular day, um, like I said, I seen the sister was on the panel talking to Bennett, I was engaging in the conversation as well. Um, and trying to explain to Bennett about the opposite side, like Neo X's version of events, right? And how she sees the way that these things have transpired differently to the point where Neo X comes into the chat. She tries to get on the panel. Bennett doesn't let her up. Um, I'm assuming he did it intentionally to get his look back or whatever. And then I don't know if I leave first or the stream ends or whatever, but I'm gone. But before I leave, I see Neo say, "I'm going to do a stream later on tonight, Angelica. I want you to come through." And so when I seen it, I thought about it for a second, and I also thought about the young woman that was on the panel and how she made the attempt to have some sort of conversation with Bennett that was opposing his view about how the events that went down that caused these three individuals to become in this beef, right? And so um, I went over there, I seen the notification, and I hit notify me. I popped in for a second. After about an hour or so, I hit the link and I sat and I listened because I don't think that anybody from our end that didn't necessarily agree with Neo X had actually listened to her side of events. I had never went over there before. I had never taken the time, but I was also thinking, well, I can do the same thing that the young lady did when she came over and she wanted to talk to Bennett about, how he may be wrong in his feelings about this. I thought that I could do the same, so I went over there. Hi, Luana. Good evening. So I go over and, everything is actually really chill, right? And NeoX is running down to me, her version of events, like how her understanding of all of this is completely different than how Bennett and the other brother tell it, right? And so I think I think for me, I was listening, I was openly listening and engaging, and I definitely appreciate NeoX being so hospitable to me, especially considering that I come from what would be considered the op side, right? Um, but I really came over there to engage and see if there was any way that there could be some sort of truce to be had, right? But as I'm listening to a woman that has a completely different interpretation of these events, that she didn't regard these men the same way that they regarded her, that according to her, they had just popped up. She felt as though the only reason that they were aligning with her is to go after this one individual. So, like, for her, it was like, all right, they're playing ball, so we might as well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing. Like, well, we're good, until. And then there also was a part about the time frame, that this time frame was like literally 30 days or maybe a little more than a month. So, how can you really be friends with somebody that you barely know, that just has recently hit your links? Like, you haven't really established any um, real alliances or understanding or even possibly friendship with them, right? And so I'm listening to this and I don't necessarily disagree, because I can understand where that can be true, because there's always two sides to a story. So what what did it for me um, was a comment, because it all leads back into why Bennett did the live, right? So I want to share it, and so I want you guys to see it. Give me 1 second. Window. Here we are. All right, so this is the comment. And this comment was made, I guess, a day or so before Bennett went live. And this is what prompted NeoX to comment, which prompted Bennett to do his live stream. Because again, like I said, I didn't even know NeoX was still a thing. And again, I want to reiterate that I'm a person that's actively working on a nonprofit that is there for women and children that are home housing insecure, meaning that at some point, hopefully at the end of this year, I'll have funding to secure a facility or a house that offers long-term temporary housing for women that are in need, and including victims of sexual assault, domestic violence. So let me read this comment. I hope this series continues. NeoX has no proof of anything she claims about herself, like being a victim, and no proof of anything she says about others. I think she's just a compulsive liar who uses lies to like a means to get something from anyone she wants, and then she throws them out. She pretends to be a victim to get support. Even when Napa and Sanetta said she molested her brother on video and called her a bulldagger, she said she was going to sue them, and she didn't. So she's just a clout chaser. What's going on, Mike? How you doing? I missed your call the other day. I'm sorry. I got a little busy. So yeah, this is his comment. And when she showed me this, because I captured this while we were on the stream, because I was just in shock. I was in shock that somebody that I consider a friend would say some things like this that have very problematic language. Even if he's that, they're in opposition of each other, they were going through a beef. Um, for me, this was really problematic just from where I lie as an individual and what I stand for as a person. And so I definitely wasn't happy. I expressed that to Neo, um, and we talked some more. And, I left Neo's panel that night kind of feeling like, even though I thought that there may have been an opportunity to kind of squash this thing, um, I recognize with this comment and her giving me her understanding of this comment as him essentially denying her sexual assault when she was a child, when she was a toddler, which she says, and the people on her side proved that she even had to go as far as to get her brother to talk about it. And I'm assuming that he knows these things because he's always doing hit pieces when she puts out content. I'm assuming that he knows that she had her brother and interviewed her own brother to say, yes, this did happen. And then he posted this. So, yeah, I walked away from that conversation with an understanding that that bridge is never going to be repaired. But I also walked away from that conversation with an understanding that I would most likely have to cut ties, because I could never see myself as a person that wants to make sure that I advocate for women in positions like this, to be known also to be associated with somebody who can say something like what you're seeing on the screen. And so some time goes by. What'd you say, Zara? Can the person on the screen learn how to spell? I mean, I think he's a okay speller, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. It's not a big deal. Grammar's not a big deal. So not for me right now, not for the point that I'm trying to make. But so yeah, so I left that stream with those two thoughts in mind, right? And all heart, grit, and grind, what's going on? So yeah, so after I got off of that panel and I talked to Neo X and I thanked her for showing hospitality to me, because she could have like let me up on that panel and cussed me out and we would have been cussing with each other, arguing, bitch this, bitch that, fuck you, da 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 da. It could have been like that, but it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? She was very courteous, and you know, for all intents and purposes, like, it was definitely not the kind of energy that I had the perception of as far as her. Am I saying that she's the best person ever? No, because I don't know all the things that she's done. Um, and I'm pretty sure somebody listens to this because I'm pretty sure it's going to make its rounds, right? Um, somebody will say, well, oh, Jelly, she was just over here saying this and she was just over here saying that. That can be true. I'm just saying, in the moment of my experience with her, she was very nice, right? She was nice. She was courteous. She was kind. But yeah, so like I said, I walked away from it understanding that I saw this comment, and then I understood that this comment was a reason why NeoX responded on her community wall, which in turn had V Bennett respond to her community post with a live stream talking about how she's a fake advocate and how she's this and how she's a bad person and how she's that. And I'll say this, I can almost guarantee you that if Bennett would have started that stream with this comment and then tried to rationalize this comment to his audience first, that stream would have not went the way that it went, because it would have put a critical eye of some individuals that I know that are smart people over there that can, see through, like, because this is antagonism. This is exactly what that is. This comment was made underneath of a stream of a woman that I had never seen before, right? And she just started floating around over in his space. and she's doing hit pieces on Neo X. So he's responding to a hit piece about Neo X with this comment, which provoked her to respond. So it's fucking messy. It's absolutely fucking messy. And to me, there's no way that you can walk yourself around that and not say, I mean, oh, well, let me get to that part. So a few days go by, and a friend reached out to him and said, hey, we did talk about this. They talked for a little bit. They messaged me and said, hey, would you be willing to have a conversation? And so I said, yeah, sure. So the phone call started. I'm listening to him, and to his defense, he said at that moment, which to me seemingly now isn't 100% true to a certain degree, but in that moment he said he didn't really know anything about Kevin Wesley, that yeah, he was in a stream that was talking about Kevin Wesley in the moment, but he says he wasn't paying attention, but okay. However, people on the opposite side seeing him participate in that chat when Kevin Wesley was brought up have conversed things to say about him. But I left it alone. I'm not going to crucify you, because in real time, I didn't know these things. I know them now. But, here we are, right? So we have the conversation, and I'm listening to him talk about all the things that NeoX has done. You know what I'm saying? And so at a certain point, I had just gotten frustrated because I felt like he wasn't really understanding, because it wasn't as if he wasn't made aware that I was on NeoX's panel, right? It wasn't as if he didn't hear what she had to say to me and what I had to say to her. So I felt like it was a little bit disingenuous to kind of preface your argument with these things that she has done to you. She's called you gay. She's done, like, I just thought, because it's not as if I wasn't there. It's not as if I wasn't on these panels with you with the same understanding and in your defense arguing with you against NeoX, right? But in that moment, what I got was that he had forgotten about all of that, because now he was being challenged about these words that we're looking at, right? So I stopped him for a moment. I read this in the conversation word for word, so that way we didn't get it mixed up. His sentiments to that was he's allowed to feel this way, and we shouldn't be mad at him for feeling this way. That these are his opinions. He doesn't have any proof of anything. So he essentially doubled down. And so even though I had already known it, that I was going to cut ties with him, by the end of that conversation, I had just respectfully said, well, you know what? I'm just telling you now that because of these words, and because KB, that's the fucked up part. Before their split, he expressed empathy for her experience. In essence, he believed her, only became a lie questionable once they were no longer in alliance. Yeah, well, thank you, KB, for reiterating that. Yeah. Because the crazy part is that because I had tapped out for a little bit, I hadn't heard every last thing that he said, but women had left because they heard it a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? And even though I wasn't present for every single, I mean, even with one individual lady, I reached out to her because I was confused about, like, I wanted to gain understanding. And let me say this as well, like, if I'm willing to reach out to somebody to have the conversation, best believe I'm going to hit a fucking link if somebody sends it out to me. Like, I am a person about trying to mitigate conflict if I can. So if there's an opportunity and somebody's willing to have the conversation that can potentially be conversionary, I'm going to be there. because I think it's the right thing to do. I don't need permission. I don't I don't need I don't need any of that, right? I don't. So, um so I essentially said to him that because of this statement that we're looking at on the stream is the reason why we can't be associated with each other anymore. Just as a person that stands on integrity and righteousness, and especially with who I've always been and what I'm trying to do, I can't align myself with a person that's willing to disparage someone's victim story because they feel as though they don't believe it, right? I mean, the kind of language in this, like I won't tell you all the things that happened in that conversation, but what I will tell you is that it wasn't nice. It started out kind of calm and then it went left. It absolutely went left. And what it really was is trying to get Bennett to recognize how this language as a man is problematic. And then for two, you, he's an advocate, right? He runs an organization that talks about anti-Blackness in Denmark, right? Something monumental that has never happened in that country before. And this is the kind of language that he uses with someone that he doesn't like. I can't stand by that. I'm sorry. There's no way. So this is me publicly and for the record and for fucking K saying I want nothing to do with V Bennett. He's not welcome here. If he pops in the chat and telling the moderators to block him, we haven't had a conversation since. I think I have him blocked. I think I do. I have him deleted off of my Facebook. I want no further communication with him because of this statement. Because I can't compromise myself as a person that's doing things in real life to help benefit a group of people that need it. For anybody to ever see me not say anything about this. It will never happen. You will never see me compromised in that way. You will never see me kiss a fucking ring or bend a knee to fuck shit. And again, and I'm saying this, and me and Bennett have a long history, right? So I'm saying this for the people to hear about how important it is to disavow someone. Because just imagine if somebody does an internet search on me, or say they want to do an interview with me and they start looking me up and they start seeing where I've been and where I go. And they've seen me on panels with this man. But they also pull up this comment. They're going to look at me like I'm fucking crazy. And then my integrity gets questioned. My credibility gets questioned. And this is something that I tried to tell him in that conversation. What's going on, Rogue? How you doing? Hey, girl. So this is me saying, you guys see this comment. For those of you who have been here long enough, you know what I'm doing, what I'm planning on doing, what I'm working on, and why it's important for me to stand 10 toes down and say, no, I can't fuck with him anymore. And I don't want somebody to hear it secondhand. I don't want somebody to have to pull me up on a panel and hear it on somebody else's platform. You're hearing it from me. So like I said to the moderators just getting in, if he ever comes here, he is to be blocked. He is not welcome here at any point. people that got the big wrenches, you see him in my comment section, you delete that shit. He is not welcome here anymore. Hey Zell, how you doing? Thank you. I appreciate it. Great stream yesterday too. That was hilarious. If you want to cuss them out first, fine. Do what you got to do. Y'all have my permission. Because I think for the women who can see and read this, they understand how this is problematic, right? Yeah, for real. And y'all, if you haven't been over to Zell's page, he does a lot of different content. They talk about anime, they talk about current events. Mr. Honeywheat Jones is over there. I feel like he don't like when I say that, but I'm going to keep saying it. Overall 99 Media, he's in the chat. So if you want to check his page out, he's actually an author, guys. So go over there, check out his page. He's a really cool guy. I definitely vouch for him. I like him, you know. It's a chill space. I appreciate it. But yeah, so I just don't I don't ever want y'all to see me in a position like some of these content creators on the internet, right? Where they get caught up, they're sitting on a panel with anyone. Yeah, it's on my list. I have so many books on my list. Put it on your community wall and then I'll share it. But yeah, so we've seen these people, you know, on these panels and on these chats and stuff like this, and they sit with Jigglypuff and Daryl Long, and they hear him say both of them say some wild ass shit, you know, fucking what's his name, Truth, Nexus, Plexus, Perplex, whatever the fuck. You know, they see them on panels and they say wild ass shit, but nobody says I'm done. How many people have you heard say I'm done with y'all? It's not enough. And for me, like, that indication is that they are morally vague. That's just how I see it. Nobody can convince me. There's no conversation, there's no context, there's no none of that. Like, if you're not questioning why, then I mean, you know, like, I don't know what we're doing, but I'm not willing to do business or be associated with people who have made problematic statements and, you know, they feel like they can, you know, hold space with others. For me, it's not a good look, because there are people out here that have real existences and real lives and actually do real shit outside of YouTube. And for every person that doesn't say anything, you compromise a whole group of people. You malign the integrity of a whole group of individuals because you won't say something. And these people don't even necessarily have to be completely involved, right? I mean, think about it. I'm on a panel with a guy that's being alleged to have molested a child, and I don't even know it. I don't know it until he tries to spin a narrative and make it seem like it's just crazy allegations that just came out of nowhere. And then the person's panel that I'm on, the channel holder, doesn't confide to me anything. Although after the fact he said he didn't know, I find it hard to believe it. I find it hard. Honestly, I don't believe it. I'm not going to crucify him about that, but I don't feel like he's standing on integrity when he says that. I don't think he's giving me the truth. So yeah, so this is me telling y'all that V Bennett Media and I association are done because of this comment. Because he he uses comment as provocation to harass someone, right? He may, in his mind, use it as a statement because he feels comfortable in that. But what it actually does is for people who are actual victims, when you tell them that they don't have any proof, what you do is you provoke them to respond. And then in that response, you make content about it. What's going on, Queen? And I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that as a woman, as a mother, as a survivor myself. There was never a time and a place where I would align myself with anyone that could malign someone's victim story. And I don't give a fuck how terrible NeoX is. I could never do it, ever. It would always be, I have left people for saying less than this. I have left people for them getting on their platforms and saying that someone stole valor when I was trying to tell them that I was pretty for certain that they hadn't. I have left people for me feeling compromised about the people that they were associating themselves with, and asking them, if you're going to do this, fine, but I can't be a part of it. Are you sure you want to go this far? Because I don't know these people. I don't know if they're safe. I don't know if they stand on integrity. These are real fucking stories. My position has always been consistent. But what I can't do is align myself with somebody who uses language like this. I don't believe you. I don't think she's a victim. She pretends to be a victim. It would just never happen. So now y'all know, right? I mean, KB, people are different. Like people, so I'm not and this is the thing. I don't consider myself a YouTuber, right? When I get on here, I'm always sharing some shit that happened and my thoughts about some shit that happened. And as much as I would like to do content, the things that I want to do content about have nothing to do with this. Like I've told people, oh, when I move to the land that I have, that I'm going to do content about homesteading and things like that. Completely polar opposite, right? And so for me, like my outlook is different, right? But for some of these people, they have to be here. They have to do content. And I don't knock anybody. I am pro farming fucking content, right? That's my particular stance on it. Like if somebody's out here doing some fuck shit and you get a hold of it and you want to throw up a stream on it and then they respond to you and then you respond to them and they respond back, as long as it's done with taste, it could be a little messy, it could be a little petty. But I mean, all is fair on YouTube, damn near. Hey, Luana, I'm not sure if I said hi to you. I'm sorry, but hello. But so for me, it's like so what I'm saying to you guys about how I move as far as people is absolutely how I navigate in real life. I promise you, 100% is absolutely how I navigate in real life. I mean, I've shared stories about people trying to get me to sign up to the NAACP, and I'm looking at the table. I'm ready to flip the fucking table because it's some bougie ass black people. What's going on, James Doe? Like there's nothing, but I mean, it started when I was young. Like I was like I had a thing against like people being morally vague when I was young. I took my silly ass to Occupy Wall Street, was there for a week. Well, not a whole week, like 5.5 days. It felt like a week though. And I always try to do what I can. There are people on YouTube that sometimes pop in his chat, sometimes don't pop in his chat, that I've helped, I've sent things to, I've done things for. You know what I'm saying? And I don't ask for anything in return. Not flip. No, true story. I almost flipped the fucking table. That's how mad I was. I'm watching all these black people. Oh, well, I run this school up here, and I own this athletic league, and I have a dance studio, and I have 200 cheerleaders and this that. These are the type of people that I was sitting next to. And I had never seen them before. But they want to create a chapter for the NAACP in my town, just so they can have the bragging rights. Not really to do anything, not to really affect any change, right? This is a table that I'm sitting at. And as I'm sitting there and I'm listening to these people grandstand and other themselves from other black people, which I fucking hate, like that shit is deplorable to me as a black person when you try to position yourself as better or a cut of fucking above. But you want to be a part of the NAACP just to have the titles. That's the vibe that I was getting. I was so fucking mad. But yeah, that's an honest to God story. You ask people that know me, they know that according to them, I embarrassed the shit out of myself. I was acting unfucking couth because I was watching a bunch of black people, just like this narrative with fucking Oprah and Monique and what's her name? I can't think of everybody's name, but all that shit with the fucking blackballing and not paying people and wanting to be like the upper echelon and the boule of black folks. It happens at every fucking level. And I've always stood against it. Every fucking time. Every fucking time it hit my fucking door, I had a beef. So I'm not going to switch up now. And I'm not going to keep people protected because, it makes them uncomfortable or they can run up a stream on me or whatever the fuck, right? Because for me, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's about standing on your fucking principles. So yeah, how long have I been live? An hour. I don't know if I have any more language for this, right? Thank you, Mike. He said when I met her, we ended up getting close and she became family. I always have love for her. Yeah, I talked to Mike. He's just talking the other fucking day. That's my brother. No, you're fine. I do typos all day. Sexy Red, hey girl, how you doing? But yeah, it's about integrity and it's about not wavering when people want to pressure you to do otherwise, right? And this is why I grow close with certain people and some people, life is fucking life. And by people's actions and you see how they move, especially when it comes to yeah, it's some other shit about somebody you don't know. I was just kind of making a declaration about some shit. Um but it's about staying consistent to your value system as a person. All of us, folks in the chat, me on the panel, we all have our core values, whatever our maxims are. And these people on the internet will try to gaslight you into changing. They will try to normalize what's unnormal for you for the sake of clicks, views, and fucking profit. And then when you don't go along with the game, you become the bad guy. That's been a consistent thread since the lockdown. I've seen it like the whole time. You can't say your truth because if you say your truth, people look at you like you're the fucking problem. Like you can't make a critique about their behavior because they got a group of fucking friends and shit behind them that will let them say whatever they want to say. Let them do whatever they want to do. As long as everybody has something to gain, there's some net benefit for everyone, they don't give a fuck. These people are morally bankrupt. And this is why I wanted to do this live stream to talk about how important it is to say no. I don't fuck with this person anymore. They did some fuck ass shit, and I don't give a damn about what the consequences are. I've always understood where you was coming from, Red. I always understood. You ain't have to tell me. I heard it the first time I said, oh, here we go. Again. But this is why I can appreciate people who stay consistent. Yeah, I mean, Red, like, and I've said this a lot of times. Sometimes people got to learn the long way, and that long way is most likely the hard way, right? And as much as we want to warn people, he blocked you. Oh man, that's not nice, James. But as much as we want to warn people, sometimes even in that warning, it just makes them more curious. And I didn't know you back then, so I had no way to say anything, right? But I mean, we live and we learn. We take our shots, we get shots, and we learn, we move on, type of thing. Oh shit, here we go. I'm gonna have to put my headphones on. Give me a second. Let me stop sharing this. All right, I'm gonna drop the link if I can. Y'all know I don't know how to do this shit. But yeah, there's the link. ABT wants to come up. I'm putting my headphones on. I'm getting myself ready. But yeah, like, for me, at the end of the day, like, we all have to stand for whatever we stand for as individuals, because my particular morals and values. He has you on the show? He has the rules. What the hell damn rule did you break, James? You over there kicking and screaming or something? I don't know what happened. You being unlike yourself? But, you know, we all have to learn whatever our personal rules are in our own time. And sometimes it takes those experiences for us to recognize, like, oh, this shit right here, I know that I can't ever do this again. You know what I'm saying? And that's the great thing about being humans, right? Hold on. Hello.
All right, hold up. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hey, girl.
Hey,
Hold up. What the fuck? Are we good here?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay. No, I said, hey, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to add anything?
No, I'm driving. I'm driving, so I'm listening now, girl. Sometimes you just gotta draw the fucking line in the sand, and that's it. That's it. You gotta just say your little piece and set the record straight, set the standard, and keep it the fuck moving is all. So
Yeah.
yeah, you pretty much said all the things you needed to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, I ain't really got nothing.
I'm kind of
Yeah, I
glad
ain't
that
got
I
shit.
waited, like I didn't have as much
Well, shit.
I don't have as much energy for it now as I did then, cuz then I was fucking pissed. I was
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I was pissed the fuck
Hmm.
off, but yeah. But I think, at the end of the day it's a demonstration
I'm
because
over it. And I'm over all that shit. So yeah,
I mean, I'm over it too, but I'm a
it's yeah,
chick about follow through too. Like if I tell you I'm gonna do
yeah, yeah.
something, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So,
I hear ya.
um,
I hear you.
but yeah, so like I was saying, it's we just have to be consistent about our principles. And I understand like
Well,
the
that's why I wanted to say some people ain't built for that shit though. Some people just ain't built for it. And like, this YouTube shit is real funny because I think like principles and all that shit kind of go out the window for some. It's like, oh, it's YouTube. It's no man's land. You say one thing about somebody, and niggas just lose their fucking minds on this bitch. They lose it. It's like, what? Like you can't. Oh God, what is going? Oh Lord Jesus, what is going on? I'm about to
well,
ride into some bullshit. But
oh girl,
okay,
you driving.
yeah, sorry, I'm
You
driving. I'm
about to
about to
be all over
ride
the
into
place.
some bullshit. I already just seen like 10 cop cars on one car. I'm like,
It's
Lord, do I
Friday,
have?
and people, it's Friday. Some
Ooh,
half
it's a
half the
lot.
country got paid. They outside bugging right now.
It ain't even midnight. They fucking up. It ain't even
Why you
midnight.
gotta be? It was like probably 5 million people that called off today for no other fucking reason than to be outside on a Friday.
I'm just saying, wait until it ain't really like the time to be super lit. It's early still. You
No,
got
I
like
live
the
in the
whole rest of the
suburbs.
night.
Every weekend it's popping. I hate driving.
Mm,
Fucking driving on the
mm.
weekend. So
No, but I was just saying, sometimes this shit it becomes a lot. People can't. It's just the way it's like, oh, that movie Fallen. You remember that Denzel? What was that Denzel?
I
Yeah, that was an accident. I'm
yeah,
driving by.
I think it was. Yeah.
When all they had to do was touch that person, and then that next person would lose their shit from
Hmm.
being touched. That spirit just there's a YouTubian spirit that just
Touches these folks.
just touches them, and then that left eye go left, and them niggas be gone, bro. They just it's all reasonability is out the window.
Yeah, well,
So
I mean, they try to justify it, and then but
it's
I've
that
been saying
spirit,
it. I've been saying it for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
I've been saying it for a long time about permissibility, about positive intent,
right?
about
Mm-hmm.
corruption, about how corruption
Oof.
corrupts absolutely. I've been saying it for a long time, you
I'm
know?
just tired of seeing people, seemingly sane people, just go left, like lose their shit. It's happening. I wonder if there's gonna be a new DSM definition for this shit. Like this, because I know that, and I think maybe something is developing. Hold on, I think something is developing, but I don't know.
I think we lost her.
Am I gone?
I know you're back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think something's developing. I think there's something coming out of the DSM about this, how addictive this platform can be,
Hmm.
particularly for the beef shit. Like, with the back and forth. Something is going on, man. These niggas is touched. And I'm just saying in general. Like, I'm not even talking about the shit you was just, I'm saying in general for like the time I've been on here, just watch people get touched and go left. You be fighting for a good ass cause, and then all of a sudden, somebody done said something about their shoestrings being untied, and you just watch all reasonability going, what the fuck you just say, nigga? It's like prison war type shit. Nigga, what nigga? It's all of this shit. It's crazy to me.
I'm beefing over
It's
the
real
Bob
crazy.
Barker slides. I
It's,
can't.
it's real fucking crazy, bro. And the fact that people feel like they gotta keep responding to the net, I be like, yeah, fuck you say, nigga. Sometimes it's CB4 out this bitch. Like, it's wild. So anyway, I just
Yeah.
wanted to come
Okay.
up here and speak to that. These niggas
Okay.
is touched. A lot of people on this bitch just get touched. Look at like Nature Boy. That motherfucker, he was already touched. He was already fucked up in the head. And then having a platform like this just exacerbated all his fuck shit.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because people are entertained by it, and then it goes from entertainment to belief. You know. I mean, I don't know what this thing is, but I remember like as I was like slowly making my way out of the conscious community, I was saying to myself like these people are here because they're looking for solutions, right? And the problem was is that all the people giving them solutions were the people trying to abuse them, you know? And that became like a huge problem for me, like seeing all these people have so much like social value and social cred, also being the same people that have no problem like taking money, defame people, slander people, you know abuse them emotionally, manipulate them, take them on roller coaster rides and wild goose chases, and then they'll turn around and look at you when you question them like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How dare you say anything to me?
Right. Can you hear me?
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, right. Yeah. It's a lot of crazy shit going on out here.
Yeah, so.
I'd rather stay away from it, like the well, okay, so some of this shit's fun though too, like I ain't gonna lie. Like some of it's
Right.
funny,
Yeah, no, I
right?
get it.
We can but like you know, it be going too far for me a lot of
I
the
mean, when
time.
we start like teetering the edge of like sexualizing children, and we start talking about doxing people, and we start like when we start, push it like getting to the point where we're unhinged, like something needs to be said. And I just do not see enough people saying no, no more of this. This is not okay. It's not fucking okay. I can't be associated with this person because of the things that they've said and done. And I don't and the other thing is that I don't understand why it's so hard, right? Like what we lost ABT, a bitch Tad. Um it says you're not connected. I still see him in the back though. You might have to drop down and come back. Um but I don't know why it's so difficult for people to just like dig their feet in and say, I'm drawing the line here. Like the buck stops here and it stops here with me. Hey, Candy Cane. And I see it all the time when people are just not willing to say the words or not using their platforms as like beacons to do right and stand on righteousness. But they're willing to just kind of negate the problems of them being associated with certain individuals, and say that it's a business. Like when I hear people say, well, this is YouTube or it's a business, for me I feel like it's a gaslight. I feel like you're trying to convince me that the wrong that you're doing I should just accept, that I'm wrong for challenging you on yeah, the go along get along game. Absolutely right, James. It's crazy out here, and I'm not saying that there, because I travel in a lot of different spaces, and I say this all the time. There are like so many other spaces that I go to that are detached from this sort of behavior. But I think coming from the conscious community and seeing where that went, and then seeing where this whole gender bang and commentary space is going, even the debate space is fucked right now. um, you just see a lot of these people that are just like lax in morals, or just have a very um, small moral compass getting on these platforms, and they're the loudest individuals. And when one of them does something wrong, everybody just sticks their heads in the sand and then pretend as if like we're not supposed to see it, we're not supposed to question it. And like certain conversations that I've had recently, like just questioning like you know just making a statement, but all these people are associated with each other. All of these people are adjacent by this thing here. Like what are we saying when we're saying we're giving people breaks? We're giving grace to individuals that have done a lot of fuck shit on this platform, have said a lot of disparaging things. I don't know what what type of impression that we're trying to display or give to our audiences when we do that. Because what I hear is that I'm okay with problematic behavior, but I still want my audience to trust me in spite of. And I think it's sad, you know. I think it's sad, and I think it's a shame that we're at a space where people can just chuck up like some of this egregious behavior to content. Because if we were to do this in any if we were to try to employ these same tactics anywhere else in real life, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. That person doing the wild ass shit would be the problem, simply put. But YouTube is a form of entertainment, and I get it. But um, for me, seeing like the story I just told you guys about, as far as Bennett, and seeing those comments, like it's just another example of why it's important to say something.
That and for some people, just take a break. Just get the fuck offline, bro. Like if it's gonna take you, out of your spirit, out of your natural way of being, take a break. It's okay. Shit'll be here tomorrow. It ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, well, I think it's an addiction, at this point.
Oh, it most certainly is. It most certainly is. I mean, shit. Well, even like I'm not even saying I'm not. I got my own little. I like chat boxing and shit. I do. I like getting in the chats. Like, yo, what's
Because you want to argue, that's why.
I like to argue, but I'm not gonna be going too far with it either. Like you're not
Right,
finna ruin my day over some bullshit. Neither.
right.
I can walk away. I know how to take a break. But to the point where, like, you got to have lawsuits on some over some online shit. Nah, I'm good. What? These
Yeah.
people was having lawsuits, y'all.
I
What
mean,
in the world?
listen, like when I ain't
And
even.
look, and not for nothing, I wish a nigga would try to make me feel like I needed to prove to them something happened to me. I got to go get a lawyer. Man, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. Like some of this stuff I'm just like, okay. You can't
What
laugh at
they
you
call
gotta
that?
laugh.
Righteous indignation.
You have to be able to laugh at it. You have to. Well, some people they can't.
Yeah,
They're
I mean
unable to.
everybody's threshold is different, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Like, if I was on the other side of Bennett's comment and it was me that he was talking about, I'm probably almost for certain I'm running up a fucking stream.
I
Like,
don't
bitch,
give a shit. I wish I would.
who the fuck you talking to? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that
Yeah, but
I
like
don't
that's the other
blame
thing.
I don't
These
necessarily
people,
blame her for responding to that shit.
I don't give a shit about her neither. Like for real, like I don't. It's fucked up what he said and all that. But I don't really give a shit about her. Like I just don't.
Well,
That
I
might
mean,
be
it's not about
wrong.
it's not about
No, I
caring
know what.
about her.
No, I know what your position is, and I get that. I
Mhm.
get that. I'm just saying, shit. Look, man, my patience is thin with these motherfuckers. That's it. Like I have no patience for any of it. I just don't. I don't care. I don't. She's like, I don't really care. I
No,
just
I
don't.
mean, so I understand your point too. So it's like in the grand scheme of things, like who is Neo X in comparison to a bunch of others, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I understand that. I'm just saying, if I was in her shoes, I probably would have responded as well.
Yeah. I mean, they beef is they beef. I don't really.
Right.
It's their shit. I do think that that comment was out of pocket. And I set my piece on that, and there's a disagreement. I didn't think it was gonna. Anyway, I set my piece on that, and I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I'm done
Well,
with that.
I'm
She
letting
don't really.
I'm letting the people know that I'm done too. I just
So
I don't
I mean, for me, like for her being in Sonetta's chat is a problem. Like, y'all niggas is too old for this shit. I swear to God, it's a
listen.
problem. Like, and at the same time, I don't think that him denying what happened to her, um, like I disagree with that whole approach. It's like, nigga, just take a
Right.
break. Like, you gotta go there and take a break. People need to be able to stop and
Oh, did we lose her again?
are willing to go. And I
Okay.
get that, now it's just you can't tell people how to fight on this bitch. So hey, it's become that, and it's all everything goes out the window because you can't tell people how to fight. And then you're wrong. If you disagree with someone while they're fighting, you're the asshole. You're wrong, and you're protecting Hitler. Like that's what the fuck I was told. So, what?
That's fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
it becomes crazy, disproportionate. Now this motherfucker's Hitler. How? Like and it's like, okay, people need to really go get therapy. You know, go get therapy for your YouTube shit. I'm telling you now with a condition. If they haven't already, y'all checked. When's the last time the DSM been updated? If they haven't already, it's coming.
Well, I know that they added some shit about TikTok in there, so it'll
Yeah.
YouTube, YouTube will be next. It'll be next.
YouTube should have been before TikTok, but okay.
I mean, very true. Very good point.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
yeah, but the some niggas ain't built for the draw the line in the sand piece. And it
Yeah.
is what
Well,
it
I
is.
mean, but that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of danger in that, and that's been some of like the background conversations that I've been having about how, like, even people that are innocently like trying to help and try to make people aware of shit, and it's like, but you don't know, like, in that action, like what you're doing, because
Yeah,
when the rabbit gets the gun and starts firing back, you catching strays too.
the
Like, you're not
strays. Yeah,
absolved. You're
I
not
think
absolved.
maybe. Well, maybe there's something. You know how there was the green book for black folks traveling, right? Like, okay, this restaurant is good, and this one not so much.
Right, right.
Maybe we need some kind of guide for navigating before you two shit pop off. If you trying to be that nigga that's helpful, right? Maybe you need to, maybe there's. You ask yourself these questions before you get involved in order to keep your sanity. No, seriously, like, has this person been excessively talking about this other person? How many times a day, a week is there a post or video made about this one person?
What's
Because
going
it
on,
kind of
Jay?
helps you.
How are you? You're muted, by
Oops.
the way.
Oh.
Oh,
How you doing? I ain't
Well,
talked to you in a minute.
who is this? I can't see. I'm driving. Who is this?
It's James Doe.
Oh, okay. Hey now. Hey. Okay. Well.
You got something you want to add, James?
sorry. Give me a second. My dog's arriving in the third.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, while he's getting the puppy situation together.
But like maybe there needs to be a list of, before I get involved. You know what I'm saying? Like pause. Everybody maybe before you try to help. I know for me, I need some shit like that. Cause when I see stuff going on, I be like, why? Why does this need to be an episode? Why does this need to become content? Why?
Because they say it's content. Like
No,
like
no, 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 no.
reaction stuff is content, you know?
But does everything need to be content?
According to
I
this,
get if you trying if okay, so the only and that it don't even really make sense to me this way. But okay, so people trying to build their channels will turn anything into content, right?
mhm.
When they trying to build their shit, everything becomes content, and
Um,
and so it can spiral into beef because it's still content or considered content. I'm putting air quotes. You can't see me, but I got the air quotes going. I got them. I got them going. Content, and I think I get for people that I think are really smart, or I have this thing in my mind about their intelligence. When I see shit like that happen, and I'm like, damn, I get disappointed, bro. I get disappointed because I feel like people are too smart for that. And and I see something in them that to me says they can build a channel without going down that path. And when I see them go down that path, I'm like, well, shit, maybe I was just giving this motherfucker too much credit. You ain't smart enough to, like, you need to, if you need the numbers, you could do something completely different. But, I guess not everybody got that kind of talent. And I ain't got no channel. I ain't really, I just be on this shit for fun. I takes care of my business in other ways. Got other shit I'm doing. But it's disappointing. It's disappointing to see people that you generally consider intelligent choose to go down this path for content. And I'm gonna go on mute, bitch. Bye.
Go ahead, James. Welcome to the panel.
Yeah. You guys know the website Social Blade, where you go and you can type in anybody's YouTube channel and see what kind of
Mm-hmm.
money they're making in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's one thing you can do. And I mean, if they're getting paid for it, that's what YouTube basically is. YouTube is basically the work remote king of employment. And I think they take about 50% or different percentages on several levels. So this is what people are taking advantage of. Use the
James,
platform. Yeah.
it sounds like you're saying to me that this shit don't pay enough and these people stress the fuck out. So they you know, trying to give it their all. This is what gotta make it. I have to make it. They tired of guffing if they working. They tired of having to be out in them streets guffing.
They don't have a real product to sell. There's
Ah,
nothing there that they are selling. They're selling. It's like telling people, "Hey, the best advice is get away from your computer." Um, after you listen to my podcast, and then go out and make it. Just make it happen. There's
Mm-hmm.
opportunities all over the place. You just have to find them. And that's true. I mean, technically, he's not lying, but, it gets you hung up on the next thing, the next wise thing, and whatever. And then, of course, anything after a while sounds logical coming out of one's mouth. So, and if the more people that follow, the easier it is to fall into that trap. Not all of it is real. Not all the followers are real. Not all the money is real. There's a lot of, oh shit, I made 10,000. Well, I'm going to reinvest 3,000 into creating 10 more accounts that will follow me, and you go to the library with your laptop, and then you have two computers that are watching your live stream at the same. There's ways to manipulate all of that, and but anyway, it's a very equal opportunity employer, I guess. Um, which we didn't, when YouTube came out. It was like, oh cool, somebody took a home video, or somebody did something. They shared, like Facebook was kind of just a little bit larger than that. It wasn't really, hey guys, we have an employment opportunity for you here. And we'll base it on how many people watch, how much advertising you can push in between, what products you'll sell, and you see it on everywhere. You see it, the whole product placement and the whole, we've just moved from watching TV to watching YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube is kind of like 24/7 TV, where we don't really need the ads if we can block them, or we watch the ads, and but somebody's getting paid for these ads. Probably the content creators. So it's basically going back to paid TV, in some way or another. And yeah,
Yeah.
content isn't really moderated, and it's really hard to, like, if you're small, you can't really say anything. It's very easy to get, like, if you have 1 million followers, it's easy to get 20 people to go around your account and be like, yo, this bitch talking shit about me, report her. And if enough reports come in, you have a million followers, you can get people blocked very easily on other platforms and not have to deal with, so the why don't more people speak up? It's kind of like, yeah, well, if I recall how many emails I had to change, phone numbers I had to change, how many different accounts I had to make on YouTube, how many different Twitter accounts I had to make, Discord accounts, just to bring a point across to people. And like, it's just like, oh, you're just trying to instill fear. It's just like, no, I'm just criticizing the fact that everybody's like happy, happy, joy, joy. There's no responsibility, no accountability.
Did
And
you
it's just
just
like,
throw Ren and Stimpy in this bitch? You
He
did.
did. He did.
Oh
Happy, happy,
my
joy,
God, that's
joy.
what?
funny. But you're right. You're right.
It's
That's funny.
I mean, that. Sorry, I mean, we grew up with Ren and Stimpy, although that should have been,
I know,
um,
right?
like it's like, oh, my kids wanted watching SpongeBob, and it's just like SpongeBob. That's what we used to watch when we were smoking up and drinking and enjoying our late
Space
teenage
Ghost.
years. I got a 5-year-old kid next door going watching One Piece, and he says, like, "I'm gonna kill you. We're gonna kill you." Blah blah blah
Oh
blah
no,
blah
no,
blah.
no, no, no.
And I'm
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
God, man, it's just like this kid, and he's watched like all the 23 seasons of One Piece, all 2,800 episodes. And it's just like at some point, and he talks to his parents like that, and he feels like that's his reality.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my.
And it's you can't. That's just kind of like, how can you even control what our kids see? Like you have your YouTube platform, but then what are your kids logging into? Are they logging into YouTube under you, as the parent, or there's no control for anything?
Right.
As soon as
Oh
they go
no, no, no.
into,
Yeah, no, there is. There is. You got it. I guess you. Yeah, there's like kids YouTube, and then you can do some restrictions and stuff. So there's that.
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's what he was asking. Like, are they logging in under you, or are they using like the appropriate channels to access it?
Oh yeah, no, they under. Well, mine is under me, so I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
all the notifications for all. It's,
yeah.
we ain't
But
going there.
but it's kind of like when, remember how kids never had a Game Boy maybe, or never had like a handheld game in school, but their friends always had one.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So it's just like, you always knew there was always that one kid in school, his parents either didn't care or had enough money and just gave him everything, and it's just like, boom, here. So it's like you can't really, and I remember me being a kid and hiding stuff. I mean, eventually they'd figure it out, luckily. But there's ways and means, and it's all just getting more obscured, But yeah, it's hard to control, and it's more out there now just because it's public. But that's the thing: if as long as it's public, and as long as we don't block it and push people like this into the underground, where they then can obviously gather and do their thing, protected. You have to watch out, because when they still do it publicly, you still have an admission of guilt, in a sort of way.
Right. Yeah.
But if you start banning people and be like, oh, we can't ban these people, they'll gather together somewhere secretly and keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's good that it's out there, so that people can, in a way, it's good that people speak, so that we can actually be more aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like you said, it's kind of like at some point, it's like, how much are we going to accept it, and how much are we not going to accept? Or how much were we part of it ourselves? And what changed us to not want to be part of it anymore.
Yeah. Hi, Big Earth.
Oh,
Thank you for coming. I've never seen you over here, but welcome.
oh, where they from?
I don't know. I've never seen this handle
Oh,
before.
okay. Well,
You like,
you
where are they
said
from?
over. Well, because you said over here, like you've seen them someplace
No.
else.
Oh, no.
That's why.
No, I was just saying I've never seen you like here at all, is what I meant. But yeah, so um I think the moral to the story for me is like, when you claim to have certain core values, belief standards, and whatever else, you have to be willing to stand on those principles all the time. And, I know that it's difficult. We're in the age of technology where everyone has to network and get to know and, go over here and introduce yourself and ingratiate yourself with this audience over here. And I get how that works. But when you have people that are presenting themselves in very problematic ways, you have to say something. And when you don't, you can't be mad when people start calling your credibility and your integrity into question, and for me, there's no amount of explaining it away. It was just like when we were over there that night listening to Jay Prince, and I'm listening to him talk about how good of a dad he is. But, I know this guy to say that, women should be deleted.
Lord, see, I ain't know nothing about that nigga like that. I
How does that
swear to
work?
God.
How can you be a father with deleted women?
Well,
With
I
girl
feel like
child.
What came first, the deleted woman or the father?
right. That's the
You
question.
know,
Right.
uh,
But yeah,
technically, are you still a father? It's going on. This is like, okay, men can have children. Okay, now we don't need women, and great. Period.
I
Stated your
mean,
fact. Now
you
we need.
know.
Well, now what? Who's gonna cook? Well, it's like everybody gets
Mm-mm-mm.
hungry. Yeah, everybody's discussing, and it's just like, and then what? You gotta go somewhere to eat. You gotta
Yeah.
go somewhere to drink something. Like, is there nothing? Is there nothing beyond that? Everybody has these all this conversation is like, oh, I gotta leave, gotta eat something. Okay, well, why don't we go eat something together? You know, it
Yeah.
never happens. It's always
Well,
it's.
I think it's to me it's all a farce, right? Like a lot of these people are traumatized from whatever experiences that they have, and instead of just doing the work, they end up online, and it becomes like this big. I don't even want to say that it's like a echo chamber as much as I want to say it's like a monologue chamber for like villains, or villains like in the academy of being a villain. So everybody's like narrating their villain origin story and then using that as rationale why they should and couldn't wouldn't with, you know, with women. And I mean, if that works for you, fine, but I mean, in reality, the converse is true. People are still partnering up. People are still, finding success in relationships. People are still figuring out ways to make it work. And some aren't. And that is a reality. But I mean, when you're calling for the deletion of a whole group of women because the women that you've experienced in life aren't good, then that's more of an indication of some things that you have to work out that has nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? Like just like the general population. But I mean, these
Oh yeah. I mean, go into any Walmart. You can find a whole bunch of undesirables of every.
every
I
persuasion.
mean, it's just like, here, please get on the
Oh my
scale. Oh, yeah,
God.
you're undesirable. You know, you're too tall. You're too old. Wheelchair, oh, undesirable. It's very easy to just. It's hard to and it's very easy to be part of the desirables until something happens. And then it's just like, no, but it was on, but I was popular. It's just like, not anymore. He's lined up here. So it's a short-lived life for some. They've been nobody, been nothing, and then they go online. All of a sudden, what they say finds ears everywhere.
I'm sorry.
Listeners,
Something is going on. I'm gonna have to end this stream real quick.
uh,
I'm sorry, y'all, but I gotta go. There's something happening. You
Okay,
guys have a
bye.
good night. Bye,
You too.
everybody.